Good morning, people. So here is the situation. You have an old car that you absolutely love and you daily drive it, but it doesn't have central locking. And this tiny little inconvenience, with sufficient time, can transform itself into a complete pain in the ass. Because imagine, every time you go somewhere and you park your car, when you lock it, you have to go door by door, making sure that everything is locked. Luckily, there is a solution for this, because in today's day and age, you can go online and for a little bit of money, you can buy yourself one of these. A remote central locking system. So in this video, we are going to be retrofitting this into a Honda Civic. The system has a little module that controls a set of linear actuators. These little actuators have to be installed inside the doors of your vehicle and mechanically attached to the rods that move the locking mechanisms of the door, to which the kit provides you with some hardware. It may sound cumbersome, but it's not that big of a deal really. So you plug a 12-volt power supply to the module, then you follow the synchronization instructions for the remote controls and connect the color-coded wires to the actuators. This system has a master-slave leader and follower architecture, which means that the passenger doors will replicate the state of the driver's door. Now, before we start removing door panels and drilling holes everywhere, let's just make sure that the wires are long enough to reach all the doors of the vehicle. Because with these universal kits, you never really know. Everything seems to be okay, so the next thing I should probably do is to figure out the power supply wiring. But since that is kinda complicated and I'm lazy by nature, I will do the wiring for the front doors instead. Running wires through all of these tight places can be a little bit challenging, so my recommendation is to use something hard and pointy as a kind of a needle. This will make your life so much easier. One good thing about working on a problem like this is that the problem is symmetrical. So once you figure out how to run the wires for your passenger door, the driver's side door is exactly the same. Now let's face the unavoidable and figure out the wiring for the battery. For this, we will need to run some wires from the battery to the interior of the vehicle. And that means going through the firewall. The firewall is the metal wall that separates the engine compartment from the interior. And usually the firewall already has some factory-made holes for things like the engine harness, so for now, no drilling is required. The power wires on the module are very short, so I ended up using a little bit of extension cord wire to prolong them. And finally, with that out of the way, let's go to the fun part. So with the installing of the actuators on the doors, you have to get a little creative, because here you work with a lot of limitations. You see, ideally, you would install the actuator in a straight line, but chances are that you will have the door panel in your way, the window, the wiring harness, or some other crap. And the only two things that you can decide on or modify are the position of the actuator and the form of the rod. And as you can see here, I had to bend the rod a little bit, and then bend it a little bit more, and then a little bit more. Once you are done fine-tuning the bends of the connecting rod, it is time to think about bolting the actuator to the door. And for this, the kit provides you with some auxiliary brackets. So I screwed the brackets to the actuators with a touch of thread locker, mounted the actuator once again, and drilled the first of the two mounting holes. During this step, it's a good idea to roll the window up, just so you don't accidentally shatter it to pieces with the drill bit. Seems okay to me, so let's connect the wires and finish off the installation with a little bit of thread locker. And since I already had the drill as well as some spare bolts laying around, I took this opportunity to mount the module to one of the plastic panels that go underneath the steering wheel. And finally, let's go with the part that I feared the most. The rear doors are more challenging than the front ones for multiple reasons. One of them being that they are physically located farther away from the module. And that means that the wiring is gonna get more complicated. Another reason is that in the rear doors, everything is packed more tightly because of the wheel arch. So trying to pack even more stuff is a pain. Nevertheless, I decided to man up and went for it, applying everything I've learned from doing the front doors. And as expected, I ended up running into some packaging issues. So after giving it some thought, this is what I come up with. So at first I was going to put it over here, but as we saw, this rod or whatever it is actually hits the actuator. So I was thinking we can put it over here or even on this rod over here, but again, here we don't have enough space, and if we put it here, the wires are going to be too far for us to be able to reach because they are not that long. So I'm going to put the actuator over here like this, and it's going to go like behind this wall over here, and for the rod that goes on the actuator, I'm going to drill a little hole over here, and I'm going to shorten it and connect it to this one over here. Beautiful. Now let's figure out the wiring for these actuators. This task is fairly simple. You have to run wires from point A to point B. If anything goes in your way, you remove it. And here I could have gone with a simpler option and just laid the wires on the ground, but again, I am making all of this effort because I want this to look like OEM. I don't want anyone to see wire laying around, and that's why everything is gonna go under the carpet and under the panels. And in doing so, I am giving every wire an extra coat of electrical tape. Okay guys, moment of truth. All the doors are connected, so let's check this out. Driver side, working. Left passenger side, working. Right rear passenger side, working as well. And finally, front passenger side, working as well. Whew. Let's start putting all the panels back together. And there you have it, everything nicely installed. You don't see any wires. Same the door here, you can't see anything. Okay, let's check every door once again if everything is still working. So these two doors working nicely, and these two doors working nicely as well. So yeah, this is how you install a universal central locking kit into a 20-year-old Honda. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.